Hey, my name is Macy and I'm the founder and creator of Eco Chica. Welcome to my channel. Eco Chica is a brand that I started that makes new things out of old things. I've always loved thrifting. I grew up going to thrift stores and loved finding, a good deal or a good score at the thrift stores. And so as I got older, I continued to thrift, but now I'm taking those items that I've thrifted and turning them into something new to give them more life. I am so excited to take you behind the scenes with me on my journey to scaling my business. So very first off the bat, my website is already live. Unfortunately, I didn't take you along the process of that, but that's okay. We're gonna start now together. And there's some things we need to fix on the website anyways. So from here on out, we're gonna work through this together. So my website is already live. We need to retake photos though for the listings, because right now, what I did, just because I was just getting started, I would take a video like for TikTok and then I was screenshotting the images, like screenshotting from the video, and I uploaded that on my website for the pictures. So they're not the best quality, they don't look great. So that's one of the things on our to-do list that we'll be doing in a future video together, is retaking our photos for the website. I also just got accepted into TikTok Shop, yay. So we have to take photos for that as well. So photos will be for dual purpose. But today what we are going to work on is we are going to create our brand labels. So on anything you buy or any item you buy from a creator, typically there's a little tag on it that says the creator's name or the brand name. So we're going to make our Eco Chica tags. I watched a couple tutorials. So we're going to go along this behind the scenes together and make the labels and tags together. And that's one of our first things that I'm going to take you along behind the scenes with. So let's dive right in. I'm going to bring you over to my computer so I can show you what we're working on. The very first thing you're going to do is create a label how you want it to actually look in Canva. This is 1.5 by 2 inches, and then I just found a font that I liked that I thought would look good on, because this is going to be 1.5 by 2 inches. It's going to be very small, so that I thought would look good on a small label as well. So that's the first step, is creating the label, finding the font you want, and creating just one in Canva. So then we're going to take the design that we created and bring it into an 8.5 by 11 document in Canva. And we're going to click on it, and we're actually going to add a border, because this border is going to show us where to cut on the page when we actually print it out. So now we are going to shrink this down until it's the right size. So it should be 2 by 1.5, so you can actually see that at the top over here, 2 by 1.5 inches. So I'm just gonna, if you see when to see the number right here, 2, we're almost there, 2 by 1.5. Okay, so now it's the correct size that we want it. So I am literally just going to duplicate this across the page, and then I will show you the next steps. Okay, in order to print this, our first step is to save it. So I labeled it Eco Chica Labels, and then I'm just gonna save this so we know where it is. Okay, this is the transfer paper that we're gonna use. It's important to print on a transfer paper. So this is my first time doing this, but I've watched some tutorials. It's important to obviously print on a transfer paper, not just normal printer paper, because we're gonna print on this, and then we're gonna take this transfer paper and iron it onto our fabric so that we get the fabric labels. So that is the next step. After we have saved that document to our computer, we are going to get our printer out and we are going to print. I am going to start by printing just one page of these to make sure that this goes okay and we didn't mess it up. So I'm going to pull out one sheet and we are going to print, pull out one sheet. Actually, I'll just pull all this out because I can't see what I'm pulling out. Okay, so a lot of stuff comes with this. I actually have just used some transfer paper before, but these little things are actually important. We're gonna need these for ironing, so don't just toss those. I've gotten these before when I like hadn't used transfer paper before, and I was just like, oh, what the heck are these? We need those. So I'm gonna take one piece of transfer paper, and we are gonna just try to print one to see how this goes. One thing to note that when I was doing my research about this transfer paper is we do not want to inverse or flip like your label. Sometimes when you're printing on transfer paper, you know, you need to reverse it or flip it so when you're printing that it shows up the right way. Not the case for this transfer paper. I don't really know like how transfer paper works or why that's the case, but for this particular step, we're gonna print the document just as we saved it. And we're gonna print right on this front side. Okay, my first print was a fail. So that's why we just print one at a time. For whatever reason, I got this like big X on my sheet, and I'm looking at my computer and it says, I wonder if this is why, it says the label file that I saved is locked. So I still don't know why it printed an X. So I'm trying to just like troubleshoot that quick. I was trying to do it in real time in case anybody else ran into this issue. I think I'm just gonna delete this file and re-download it because I do not know why it would say it's locked or like print a big X on the page. Not totally sure about that. Maybe I'm gonna save it. So last time when I downloaded it, I just downloaded it whatever Canva recommended. I'm gonna try to download it as a PDF this time. So let's see if that changes anything. I'm actually like kind of mad I wasted a piece of transfer paper on this X, but it's okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna open this again and make sure it's not locked. That was so strange. Yeah, this looks okay. Okay, we're gonna try again. Take two. Okay, that worked. I'm actually really excited because it worked. So this is how it looks. It looks pretty good. I feel like there's like some wasted space, and I'm debating if I want them smaller. Like I'm debating if that's a good size. It seems big, like looking at it on the sheet. And this is the first time I've like printed my own labels. So I'm just like thinking out loud here, just trying to think if these are too big or if this is a pretty good size. Let's cut one, or we don't cut till later. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep you along the whole process, but rather than printing, my plan was to prep all of my labels so they're like ready to go. I can like have them in a little jar and there's just a bunch ready at one time. And we're still gonna do that. But rather than printing out every single page right now in case we don't like this size, let's do just this many right now. See how this size goes, and then we'll see if we want to print more of this size. The next step is we are actually gonna cut along this entire edge because we're gonna put this on fabric. So I don't wanna waste any fabric like on those little edges. So I'm gonna start by cutting that off using a non-fabric scissors. We're just gonna cut around the edge really quick. And now that I'm actually looking at this and cutting it, we actually didn't do too bad. I was thinking we wasted a lot of space. It's actually not that bad. Okay, I'll cut out. Okay, for fabric, we're just gonna use a plain white cotton. So I'm gonna try to get this in the shot, but I'm gonna start by just ironing this. And I just have a little bit, but we're just getting started and we're trying to figure out these labels. So we're gonna iron it, and then all we have to do, I'm gonna wait until I iron it, but this is a sticky label because it's a transfer paper. And so in just a second, we're gonna peel off the top layer, but first we're gonna get this ironed. I kind of got the corner off of this, as you can kind of see how this peels. So really like thin piece. I'm trying to peel this really gently. Okay. So now the two pieces are separate. And we're gonna put this just right on here. Now we're gonna take our transfer paper and we're gonna put that over top. I tried to like lay this as close as I could to the edge here, so I'm using up as much fabric as possible. We're gonna lay this on here, and now we just iron over top of this. We're all done with our transfer paper and we're gonna let this cool for a little bit. According to the tutorial that I watched, it should feel cool to the touch, but then you also shouldn't be able to like pick up the corners with your fingers, and I can't, so that means we're ready to cut. So the next step is to cut these out and they're good to go. So I will show you just 1 second. Now our next step is just cutting. So we're gonna take these, and now we're gonna use our fabric scissors, and we're just gonna cut them out. I'll just do a couple here while I am chatting. I think I want to cut these in a row so I can kind of like be a little more efficient, but I was just gonna cut one here so we could kind of see the size. Okay, so I'm gonna cut all the way around the actual label so we can be consistent with sizing. Okay, that's pretty cute. I think this turned out pretty good. Oh, yeah. Look at that. We made our first label. How cute. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I think that looks good. Okay. Now we're gonna cut up the rest of these. I got all of them cut out. They look really cute. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think they're gonna be a good size. I'm gonna kind of play with them a little bit to see how I like the size. I'm gonna try it on a few different items and just test it out a little bit so I have a better idea of if I want to print all of them in this size. There are many places, if you are starting a brand or thinking of starting a brand and curious about making labels, there's many places you can order your own labels from. I had just like seen tutorials of people doing it themselves. It doesn't take very much time. It was super simple just to do at home. So to me, this is worthwhile just to spend like a little bit of time creating my own labels rather than having to pay somewhere else to make them. So, but if you are interested in not going the DIY route, there's plenty of other places that you can buy your own labels from. And this made me like quite a few. This is like just one page because we wanted to test it out. So I'm super happy with how they turned out. I think they look really cute. I plan when I put them on an item to stitch around the entire edge. That way you don't have to worry about any fraying of the fabric, but I am honestly super happy with how they turned out. Thank you so much for coming behind the scenes with me today as we made labels for Eco Chica. I'm really excited to keep things moving on and taking you along with me behind the scenes. I'll see you in the next one.